Matt Diavella? Matt Diavella? Matt Diavella? Hey guys, welcome back to Pete's Bits. This is episode 2 of Fact Checked, the series where I, as a trained psychologist and behavioral scientist, review the psychology and behavioral advice given by other people on the internet. In this episode, we're reviewing a video by Matt Diavella called How One Habit Changed My Life. If you're unfamiliar with Matt Diavella, he's a self-improvement YouTuber who's one of the hottest channels on the platform right now. In 2018, he only had 4,000 subscribers, and at the time of making this video, he has over 3 million. Insane. Mr. Diavella talks quite a lot about habits on his channel, and thankfully I actually know quite a bit about habits. Some of you might not know this, but I actually work for Professor Wendy Wood, who is quite literally the world's leading expert on the science of habits, and as a result of that job I actually read a lot of scientific literature about how habits really work, and would feel quite confident debating almost anyone about the science of habits. So today I'm going to be reviewing the habit tips given by Matt Diavella in this video, and we'll see if it stands up to the scientific literature or not. Hope you guys enjoy. So just like in episode 1, we're going to be cutting a lot of the nice cinematography that Matt Diavella does, it's just so that this video doesn't become super long.
I used to think that life was made up of really big moments. Graduating college, landing the job, getting married, and shaving your beard. But what I've learned over the past decade is that what really makes the biggest difference in your life are the simple actions you take each day. Now, I'm not trying to take away anything from your 30th birthday party, although Kim, that was a shit birthday party, and you should be embarrassed with yourself. But as you begin to take a step back, as you get a bird's eye view of your life, what you'll realize is that it's actually made up of these automatic actions you take every day called habits.
So first really good sign from Matt Diavella here is that he's calling habits an automatic action. That's exactly what habits are according to the science. They are automatic processes that require very little cognitive energy and almost no deliberation at all. So the fact that Matt Diavella is straight away calling these an automatic action gives me high hopes for the final score that we'll be giving Matt Diavella.
And if there's one thing I've learned over the past decade, it's that it really doesn't take much to change your life. And for me, it all started with just one habit. So I was always one of the smallest kids in my class, from preschool through adolescence. I entered high school barely weighing 100 pounds, and 6 years later...
Okay, so I'm going to skip this part of Matt's video. He's just talking about how he was a skinny, awkward kid in high school, and how he decided to go to the gym. And that's the habit that he's going to be building.
It seemed that every attempt to build a new habit followed the same exact trajectory. I'd get super excited about making a big change in my life. I'd grab my keys, lace up my sneakers, and I'd begin that new workout routine. I get through day 1 just fine. Day 2, no problem. Day 3, check it off. And then at some point in the first week or 2, I'd stop. My attempt was cut off short by a big exam, a bigger party, an even bigger hangover. There was always some kind of obstacle or distraction that got in my way. It's a strange feeling to have, to know exactly what you want in life, to begin to take action towards that goal, to have so much hope for the future, and to find yourself coming short each and every time.
He's calling it strange here, but this is actually a very common occurrence for people who solely rely on motivation to build their habits. Motivation alone is unlikely to be enough to really make long-term change to your behavior. So let's see if Matt Diavella comes up with some good solutions in the next part of his video.
And so, as soon as you get used to the fact that you're going to fail and you're going to have slip-ups, the quicker you can move forward and find the right way to approach that change.
Yeah, I like this advice from Matt Diavella. You know, just because you fail at a habit, you shouldn't beat yourself up about it. Know that it's a very common occurrence for a lot of people to fail their habits when they first try, especially if they're relying on motivation. But using some good tips, especially from science, you should be able to make those failures less frequent.
I didn't let my failures discourage me. I'd grit my teeth and say, okay, that didn't work out. Let me try this again. I never lost faith that I'd be able to figure it out. And then one day became day 1. Filled up my water bottle, laced up my running sneakers, and made my way to the gym. That first day at the gym turned into a week. A month later, and I started to see some results. 3 months in, and nothing could stop me. My strength was increasing, I could visibly see muscle definition, and I felt better than I ever had in my entire life. At the time, I definitely had no idea why I was able to make it stick this time. I think certainly one part of it was just the fact that I needed to keep experimenting and trying different things, and like I said, keep pushing through those failures to finally find the win I was looking for. But there were also some tactics that I accidentally came across that really helped me to cement this change. For one, my roommate at the time was really into fitness and acted as an accountability partner. His encouragement and advice along the way really helped.
This is amazing advice. One thing that people who build new habits often underestimate is the influence that the people around them have on whether or not they'll be successful. In behavioral science, we call this friction, and one of the greatest sources of friction in our environment are the people around us. If you surround yourself with people who have similar goals to you that will encourage you to pursue the habit that you're trying to build, that's going to go a long way to making that habit stick and making that change easier. But the same principle also applies in reverse. If you're trying to be fit, then hanging out with lazy people is only going to hold you back. If you're trying to eat healthier, then hanging out with people who eat terribly is only going to hold you back. If you want to study more, then hanging out with people who don't study enough is only going to hold you back. The people around you that you interact with on a daily basis have huge influence on your habits and therefore have huge influence on the trajectory of your life. Pay careful attention to it and adjust accordingly.
Second, I created reminders in my environment that nudged me to go to the gym, adding little post-it notes in my bedroom and preparing my gym clothes the day before a workout.
And again, both of these are fantastic tips by Matt D'Avella. People who do behavioral interventions know that prompts can be a very powerful way to change people's behavior if done correctly. In fact, I gave this exact tip to one of my friends who said he was struggling to study. I said, have a visual calendar in front of you that you can cross off and keep check of when you study and when you don't, because that visual reminder is likely to act as a powerful prompt to help you adhere to your behavior. The technical term we would use in behavioral science is a commitment device. It helps you commit to the behavior you're trying to commit to. The other tip that Matt D'Avella gave was packing his gym bag the day before, and that's just a classic example of reducing friction. If your overall goal is to build a gym going habit, try build lots of smaller habits that make that big habit easier. Packing your gym bag the day before, prepping your workout meals, planning your routine ahead of time. All these smaller behaviors reduce the decisions that you have to make when it comes to actually getting the work done.
This is around the time when I also started the 2-day rule. I wouldn't allow myself to take off more than 2 days in a row from going to the gym. This became a helpful guardrail to keep me going and to make sure that I didn't slip up too many days in a row.
I really like the idea of this 2-day rule. I don't think there's any scientific studies on it specifically, but definitely we know that repetition really is the key to building habits. Now, in theory, you could build a habit without a 2-day rule. If you guys remember my interview with Professor Wendy Wood, you might remember that she said,
Oh, that's one of the great things about habit memory is when you pick up and start again, it's about at the same level as when you quit. So habit memory really does, it's iterative, it builds on what is there.
which means that you technically could take as long as you want it off and then come back to it and build on that habit. However, when it comes to big complex habits like going to the gym or trying to stick to a new diet, having this 2-day rule makes a lot of sense to me because it will encourage you to get in more repetitions in a shorter period of time, and the more you repeat that behavior, the more that habit memory will grow and the more likely it is that you'll stick to it.
That this one habit made such a huge impact in my life wasn't because I could now crush soda cans with my biceps. That was a nice side effect. Because it turned out that that one habit was just the tip of the iceberg. Because one habit turned into many more. After building that daily workout routine, I felt inspired to start eating better, and then I began to drink more water. In less than a year, I gained over 20 pounds of muscle, and my confidence and self-esteem skyrocketed. This gave me the nudge that I needed to start connecting with others, to help grow my business, and eventually to even start talking to girls. From there, I started to tear through books on self-development and personal finance, which helped to motivate me to grow my filmmaking business and pay off over $97,000 of student debt in less than 4 years.
So this idea that Matt D'Avella is talking about is actually really interesting. It's the idea that you can turn one habit into many more habits. And it reminds me of something I read in a paper recently by Todd Rogers. In this incredible paper by Todd Rogers, he gives this idea which he calls the rip current of habits. So rip currents are these jets of water that can carry people very quickly from the beachside far into the ocean with very little effort. So Todd Rogers calls this idea the rip current of habits, and it's kind of an understudied area actually in habit science literature. So the idea is that once you form that one habit, going to the gym in Matt D'Avella's case, what this actually does is it changes your identity. You change from a person who goes to the gym to a gym person, and that gym person becomes a healthy person, and that healthy person becomes a productive person and a confident person. These shifts in your identity then make subsequent complementary habits much easier to form because you want to be consistent with your newfound identity. It's potentially a very powerful idea which I think needs to be explored more in the habit science literature.
This, of course, isn't the full story. There were many moments of doubt and fear and overwhelm that threatened to stilt my progress at every turn. But the person that I've become today can truly be linked back to that one change that I made in my life over a decade ago. It's so simple. Doing it one time doesn't make much of a difference in your life, but the compound effect of repeatedly showing up day after day, that's what leads to really big changes in your life in the long run. Focus on the big areas of your life that will give you the greatest return on your investment of time and energy. Flossing your teeth and drinking 8 glasses of water is definitely something that we should all be doing, but it might not be what gives you the momentum towards greater change in your life. If you find something that you truly find fulfilling, it will only take a month or 2 of consistency to see the benefits from doing 20 minutes of yoga a day.
Now, I know a lot of you are going to be hearing that phrase from Matt D'Avella, finding a behavior that you really find fulfilling, and you think, well, you know, I'd love to go to the gym, but I don't find exercise very fulfilling, or I'd love to study more, but I don't find studying very fulfilling. And that's kind of an important point that I think Matt D'Avella maybe underrepresents here. In order for habit formation to be successful, the behavior needs to be rewarding, and that's really a key ingredient to making habits stick. Now, if you want me to make a video about how to make habits rewarding, then please leave a comment below letting me know so. But Matt D'Avella is kind of right in saying that if you can find a behavior that you find intrinsically rewarding, what he describes as fulfilling, then those behaviors are going to be much easier to build into habits than other ones.
And those little changes in your life could be the spark of momentum for so many other positive changes in your life. You just need to take the first step.
Okay, Matt D'Avella, it's time for your score. So the way I'm scoring these videos is that everybody starts out at 10 out of 10, and then I deduct points if they say anything that's incorrect. And to be honest, I can't really deduct any points from Mr. D'Avella here. All the advice that he gives in this video is exactly in line with what the science would tell you is a good idea too. Of course, there are other things that you can do in addition to the things that he talks about in this video, but that's not how the scoring system works. The scoring system works that if you say things that are incorrect, that's how you deduct points. So congrats, Matt D'Avella, 10 out of 10 for you. Absolutely nailed it, mate. So if you guys enjoyed today's video, can I please ask you to give me a thumbs up down below because it really helps me out. And 2 videos ago, I asked you guys to comment your favorite charity below and I would donate £150 to that charity. So congratulations to Blue Dragon Children's Foundation. They rescue child slaves in Vietnam, which of course is an important cause. So I'm very happy to donate £150 to Blue Dragon Children's Foundation. I'll leave a link to Blue Dragon Children's Foundation and all the other charities that you guys commented to. So if you guys want to donate to any of these charities, then please check out the links below. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. That's going to go a long way to making that habit. That's going to go a long way. That's going to go a long way to you help. That's going to go a long way to help.